Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're kind of unrolling an ancient scroll, you could say. It's a living chronicle, really, of a world forged in fire, betrayal, and some, well, unyielding heroism. We're embarking on a deep dive into the foundational history of Tyria. Specifically, we're tracing the epic and often pretty tragic timeline of Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, it's like stepping right into the Hall of Monuments itself.
Exactly. Not just seeing the statues, but actually hearing the echoes of the deeds they represent, you know? Our mission is to take you on a journey through the ages of Tyria, from those first sparks of magic right up to the quiet just before the dragons start to awaken. We'll be walking through the years marked AE after Exodus.
And for the gods left, yeah.
Right, signifying their departure.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the world itself evolves year by year. It's shaped not just by these grand conflicts, but also by really personal sacrifices. This isn't just like a list of dates and events. It's a story of a world constantly being redefined. We'll explore the core campaigns, prophecies, factions, Nightfall, and Eye of the North.
Each one a major chapter.
Each a pivotal chapter in Tyria's history. We'll look at the key battles, those moments of profound betrayal, and the turning points that, well, they resonated for centuries after.
And we won't just tell you what happened, but hopefully why it matters. We'll try to connect these moments to those big, enduring themes, like the true cost of power, especially unchecked power.
Right, and that constant tension between unity and fracture.
Yeah, that too. And, of course, the crucial legacy of memory, of heroes, what lasts. So settle in, because we're about to delve into the very essence of what made Guild Wars. Well, Guild Wars. Let's unpack this. Okay, So our journey begins even before there's huge conflicts in what's called the pre-Searing era. This is a really long stretch, from 0 AE right up to 1070 AE.
A whole millennium, basically.
Exactly. This was a time of burgeoning civilizations, mostly human kingdoms like proud Ascalon, Maritime Ore, and lush Creta. It was when the gods apparently gifted magic to mortals, letting these societies flourish, but, beneath the surface.
There were simmering tensions, especially with the Char.
Yeah, the Char, this fierce leonine race. They'd been driven from their ancestral lands by humanity, and they were sort of amassing strength up beyond the northern mountains.
It was definitely the calm before the storm. A world pretty unaware of the immense transformation about to hit it.
It did. That storm arrived with terrifying speed in 1070 AE with the Searing.
The Searing. The event that just dramatically kicks off the Prophecies campaign. It scarred the land forever.
Totally. The Char unleashed this magical devastation, an inferno created by these fiery cauldrons. It turned Ascalon's fertile lands just to ash and ruin.
The sky itself burned red. Proud towers crumbled. The land itself just screamed as magic tore it apart. It wasn't just a battle. I mean, it was a shattering, a cataclysm.
Wiped out a civilization almost instantly.
Pretty much.
And it's amazing how you, the hero, your journey gets forged right there. Not in glory, but in that ruin. You join Prince Rurik, this lion-hearted leader, trying to guide survivors towards Creta.
But even Rurik's courage wasn't enough, was it?
No. He tragically perished during that desperate journey. It's such a stark reminder early on that even heroes can fall, that good intentions can just burn up.
His dream was simple, really. Protect his people, no matter the cost. And his legacy, well, it guided a lot of people afterwards.
It really hammered home that true cost of power theme right away, didn't it, when wielded unchecked, and how quickly unity just fractures under that kind of devastation.
Exactly. And your path, then, led you across a Tyria still reeling from this trauma. You journeyed from the snowy Shiver Peak Mountains, home of the dwarves.
Right, and they were facing their own problems, internal strife, extinction threats from the Stone Summit dwarves.
Yeah, the secessionist Stone Summit. Then you went to the cursed Maguma jungle, where betrayal felt like it grew like thorns, sometimes even from supposed friends, and ultimately you faced and defeated the Undead Lich, a powerful necromancer aiming to unleash the Titans.
These primordial beings of immense destructive force, like unmaking reality itself.
Exactly. You won. It was a hard-won victory, but Tyria's wounds ran deep. That scar was left on the continent permanently.
So just 2 years later then, in 1072 AE, the spotlight shifts pretty dramatically. While Ascalon's still reeling, the focus pulls us way south. The factions campaign begins in Cantha. What can you tell us about this place? It sounds vibrant, but also troubled.
Oh, Cantha, a land of, jade seas and ancient emperors. It had this deadly beauty, but it definitely carried the weight of older sins. At this time, it was suffering a deadly plague, the afflicted, victims of the curse of Shiro Tagachi.
Shiro Tagachi, the traitor.
The very one. He'd struck down the Emperor centuries before, and now he was back as this vengeful spirit, trying to regain life and power. His death cry centuries ago had literally shattered Kantha. It turned the sea to jade and the forest to stone, left this landscape frozen in time, haunted by his past deeds.
Wow, a landscape literally frozen. That's powerful imagery, and it was into this deadly beauty then that you, the player, found yourself walking through the shining yet haunted streets of Caning City.
A maze of rot and gold, really. Wealth and ruin side by side, and the plague just sweeping through.
Like fire and dry grass, you journeyed through the frozen waves of the Jade Sea, the petrified Echovald Forest. You teamed up with Master Togo, a wise mentor, and the noble Menlo. And you had to navigate that complex, ancient conflict between the Kurziks and Luxons.
The tree dwellers and the seafarers, yeah. Two rival factions whose ancient grudges basically defined Kantha.
Right. And together you faced Shiro's vengeful spirit and broke his chains at the Harvest Temple.
His corruption was stopped, but Kantha was forever altered. Its landscape became this permanent testament to Shiro's power and how those past betrayals create lasting fractures in a society.
Okay, so the narrative then pulls us across the world again, this time to Ilona in 1075 AE. This marks the Nightfall campaign.
And here, darkness emerged, interestingly, not from an invading army, but from within Ilona itself. Virtuosa, a noble of Abbey. She could have been a great queen, perhaps. She fell under the insidious influence of Abaddon.
The imprisoned god of secrets. Wasn't he the god of knowledge before?
He was. Now imprisoned, and his influence caused Ilona to descend into chaos. The realm of torment itself started leaking into the mortal world.
Like a wound on the world, bleeding nightmares.
That's a good way to put it. Abaddon's prison was exactly that.
And it was here that you rose as a sun spear. You upheld those ancient oaths to be a light where darkness falls, fighting alongside the formidable Cormyr and other heroes of Ilona. Your path led through sun-baked deserts, grand palaces, and into the poisoned dreams of Abaddon's realm of torment, where the sky just wept blackness.
You weren't fighting for glory there. You were fighting for hope, for the hope that light could return to the desert.
And finally, Abaddon was slain. But his death wasn't without huge consequences, right?
Profound consequences. It broke the barriers between realms. And Cormyr, in this incredible act of self-sacrifice, ascended to godhood herself. She bound the rift left by his fall.
So victory felt necessary, absolutely, but incredibly costly. It left the world fundamentally changed by its brush with divine power. The fabric of reality itself was now touched by the other side.
And that brings us to our final chapter in the Guild Wars 1 saga. 1078 AE, with Eye of the North. This wasn't really a new land, but more like the heart of the storm to come. It hinted at threats far beyond anything seen before.
Okay.
Here, the destroyers, these mindless, lava-forged minions of the Elder Dragon Primordus, they started emerging from the deep places of Tyria. They heralded a much greater, world-ending threat. This was kind of the last proving ground before an age of slumbering giants awoke.
Wow, quite a shift from these maybe more localized conflicts to something truly existential. And you, the persistent hero, were tasked with uniting these really disparate factions against this new darkness.
Yeah, the proud, shape-shifting Norn.
The brilliant, technologically advanced Asura.
The stalwart human Ivan Vanguard.
And the last of the true dwarves.
Right, the dwarves.
Yeah.
While they made an act of profound, world-saving sacrifice, they underwent the rite of the great dwarf.
Transforming into living stone.
Into living stone, yes. To fight the destroyers, ensuring their oaths would outlive their beating hearts. It's quite poetic, really.
It really is. And it was here, at the heart of this gathering storm, that the Hall of Monuments was established.
A sacred place to honor great deeds, preserve legacy, and ensure that even if the world forgot,
the stone would remember.
Exactly. This was truly the quiet before the Age of Dragons, a time when the world was changing fundamentally for all time.
So let's try and wrap our heads around this. What does it all mean? Looking back, you can really see how Guild Wars 1 was so much more than just a series of campaigns. It felt like a memory being carved with each choice, each battle, each sacrifice. A world that, in many ways, had to end so that another could begin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we connect this to the bigger picture. Those themes we touched on resonate throughout this entire timeline. They profoundly shaped Tyria's future.
Yep.
That cost of power, for instance, from the Searing's raw destruction to Shiro's world-shattering death cry and Abaddon's furious assault on reality.
Right.
It consistently reminds us that victory might save the world, but the world will never, ever be the same afterwards. Every great power seems to leave these indelible scars on Tyria.
That makes sense. And the other theme, Unity and fracture.
That constant dance between unity and fracture, yeah.
Yep.
You see it in Ascalon's sudden fall, Cantha's deep-seated isolation, and those internal rivalries alone as corruption from within. It underscores how every land struggles under its own weight. And only through, well, collective bravery, the willingness to set aside old grudges, can the pieces be held together. Even then, it's fragile.
And finally, the legacy of memory.
Yes, the legacy of memory enshrined in the Hall of Monuments. It really emphasizes that deeds matter, stories matter. What you choose to do when facing oblivion truly endures. The hall stands silent now, mostly, but within its stones are countless names, brave deeds, profound sacrifices, remembered.
It really feels like this deep dive reveals the very foundations of the Tyria we know today in Guild Wars 2. The awakening of the Elder Dragons, that threat only hinted at by the destroyers, that truly marks the end of the Guild Wars 1 era. And it leads directly to the world of Guild Wars 2, which picks up much later, in 1325 AE.
Exactly. The scars, the heroes, the sacrifices, they all shape the world into what it would become. We walk among the stars of our past in that Hall of Monuments, seeing ourselves as we were and maybe as we might be again.
It makes you think.
It does. And perhaps it raises an important question for you, our listener. In your own journey, fictional or real, what deeds or moments would you choose to place in your personal Hall of Monuments? What memories would you preserve for the ages, knowing they truly endure? Because in the end, as one chronicler put it, the world does not remember me, the hall does. And that is enough. The wars are over, but the story, your story, lives on.
Thank you for joining us on this, well, incredible deep dive into the storied past of Guild Wars. We hope this exploration inspires you to revisit these tales, or perhaps embark on your own journey of discovery within them. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.